Welcome everyone to our YouTube series, Test Prep Made Easy. So in this particular series, we are going to post regularly questions on our YouTube channel. The questions may pertain to CAT preparation, maybe pertaining to GMAT preparation, as well as of various topics which are tested in these particular exams. For example, quants, LRDI, English, and various areas which are tested. And each day we will handle certain number of questions and their video solutions. The best approach is to these questions in these videos. So have a happy preparation ahead and enjoy the video. Thank you.
All right, so these are the questions that we are going to try in today's video. If you have tried it already from the thumbnail, good enough. If you haven't, you can pause the video at this point and try it once before you look into the solutions. We recommend you doing that. But if you just want to enjoy the solution, that's also good enough. And go ahead and watch the solutions now. All right, so we have this person buying equal quantities of two varieties of apple, one at a rate of rupees 200 per kilo and other at a rate of 400 200 for 4 kilo and 400 for 10 kilo. So there are two varieties. And by the way, always take a note of these kind of things. I mean, these kind of things are always there in such questions. You should not miss it out. I mean, the question says, the premise says that he's buying equal quantities of two varieties of apples. So do not assume that he's actually buying 4 kilo and 10 kilo. So this is not the case. I mean, this is the rate. What it means is every 4 kilo that he buys of variety 1, and that should cost him rupees 200. So this is what the premise is talking about. It could be that he actually bought 40 kilos or 60 kilos or whatever it is. But the main thing is that he is buying, equal quantity of these two varieties. So this is the second variety, 10 kilo for rupees 400. So these are the two varieties that he has. You have to make these two equal. So whatever equal you get it to, it really doesn't matter. So just get it to equal quantity. So either get it both to 1 kilo or both to the LCM of these numbers. So in this case, I can see that 200 is divisible by 4 as well as 400 is divisible by 10. So I'll just get it to 1 kilo each. I always do this check just to avoid decimals and all, simplifying calculation and stuff. So dealing with integers are always simple than dealing with decimals, right? So effectively what we have is this is variety 1, every kilo is costing rupees 50, and variety 2, every kilo is costing rupees 40, right? So now we have equal quantities. And then the question carries on by saying he mixed the two varieties. So he's mixing both of these and selling them at rupees 50 per kilo. But now what you have to understand is when he's mixing both of them, so this is the buying part. While selling, so let me write it here. So while selling, he is mixing these two varieties, right? So we have considered 1 kilo and 1 kilo. So when he's mixing the two things, he's actually mixing and getting 2 kilos, right? Now, you can see that he's selling it at 50 rupees per kilo. So the price of, or the selling price of 2 kilos should be 100 rupees, right? So now it is pretty straightforward. You have the total cost price to be 50 plus 40, which is 90. That is of the 2 kilo that he bought. Let's assume that. And the total selling price is 100, right? All you have to do is use these two numbers and figure out the profit or loss percentage typically. Yeah, so that is what we are looking for, gain or loss percentage. So in this case, you can see that there's a profit, 90 cost price and 100 selling price. So obviously there's a profit. So there's a profit percentage of 10 out of 90, always on the cost price. So that is 1 by 9 or 11.11%. So that should be the answer here. By the way, just to explain to you that this quantity that I assumed, 1 kilo, this doesn't matter. Let me give you another example. So for example, suppose I would have taken this to 2 kilos, for example. So this is 2 kilo and this is 2 kilos. I have to keep them equal. That is what the premise talks about. Now, please understand, if 4 kilos is 200, then this 50 is 100 now, right? I mean, 2 kilos are 100 rupees. So that will be the cost price. Similarly, this will also be scaled up. So this will be 80. You can calculate this. 10 kilo is 400. So 2 kilos should be 80 rupees. Now, when he's mixing these two things, so he's getting a net of 4 kilos, right? So this will become 4 kilos. And using this in the question, 50 rupees per kilo is the selling price. So this value should be 200. So as you can see, I mean, as soon as I've doubled these two quantities, what effectively happened is this total cost price has become 100 plus 80, which is double of the previous case. And even the selling price has doubled, right? So effectively, if the cost price is doubling and the selling price is doubling, there should not be any change in the profit percentage, right? So the percentage will still be 11.11%. It will be 20 by 180 instead of 10 by 90. So that really doesn't make any difference. So that's what I said. You don't need to worry about what quantity you take it to, but just take it to the same quantity. On the flip side, yes, the question might have said that Aryan spent equal amounts on two varieties of apples. So what you then should have focused on is the amount to be made equal. So let me just, for argument's sake, let me just show that variance. I mean the variation again. So ignore the options and that. I don't know whether any option will match in this case or not. So the only change that I'm doing is instead of Aryan buying equal quantities of this thing, let's assume that Aryan has spent equal amounts on buying. I don't know whether this will fit in this block or not. So let me keep this up. Yeah, I think this should fit in. Okay, I hope this is visible. So Aryan spent equal amounts on buying two varieties of apples, one at rate of this thing and this thing. So let me just show you this question as well, just a bonus thing. So you have, while the buying side, variety one, I'm writing in short, he's buying 4 kilo for 200 rupees, right? So this is what we have. And variety two, let me keep a little bit of space. I want to manipulate that a bit. 400 rupees spent on 10 kilos, right? So 10 kilos spent 400 rupees. So this is the variety two. Now in this context, we have to make the spending amount equal. So so what we have to do is let's get both to 200 or both to 400. Again, really doesn't matter. So in this case, this will be 400 bucks, and 400 bucks would be for 8 kilo of this type, right? Because 4 kilo is costing 400, sorry, 200 rupees. So now we can work with these two numbers itself, because here the amount has become equal. Now when you're mixing these two, now observe the change. So this is 18 kilos of the mixture, right? And according to the premise, so you are spending 50 rupees per kilo. So sorry, getting 50 rupees per kilo. This is the selling price. So while selling, you sell a total of 18 kilos at 50 rupees per kilo. So you're getting a 900 rupees, isn't it, by selling this? So now check this out. I mean, the total CP comes out to be 800 bucks and the SP is 900. So now the profit is 100 out of 800. So this is 12.5%. So just by changing the premise a little bit, the value has changed, right? So always understand what the question is talking about. Use the basics. There's nothing complicated out here. But do read the question properly. That is the major takeaway you should have from this particular question. That's all I had to discuss regarding this. I discussed a few variations because it's a very short question any which way. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thank you. Okay, so we have a person giving a discount of 15% on the mark price. Discount is anyhow always on the mark price, and in the process makes a profit of 19%. By the way, if you are aware of the flow of profit, loss, and discount, the profit is always calculated over the cost price, right? So by what percentage did he mark the product over the cost price? So this is very simple question. We just have to compare the marked price and the cost price, because that is what the question is asking for. By what percentage did he mark the product over the cost price? So mark the product is basically the marked price over the cost price, implies the difference between MP and CP as calculated over the CP. So this is the percentage we are looking for. You should understand the language if you are aware of these kind of things. Even if not, I hope by reading the question you should understand this is what the context is. Anyhow, let's get into the data pointers. So first of all, we know that there's a discount of 15%. The discount is always applicable on mark price any which way, and the question explicitly says that as well. So if there's a discount of 15%, so the discount is 15% of the mark price. So this implies that the SP or the selling price should be 85% of the mark price, right? Because after you give a discount on the mark price, that then you get the selling price, right? So MP is the 100%, and then you are taking off 15% from that. So you're getting 85%, as simple as that. Similarly, you have a profit, which is always calculated on the cost price. So profit is 19% of the cost price, which implies, now again, from this, we can calculate the SP, right? In terms of the cost price. So SP would be, by the way, there's a profit here that is mentioned. If there's a loss, then you have to adjust accordingly. But in this case, we have a profit. So it will be more than the cost price, right? So 100% of the cost price plus another 19% of cost price. So effectively what we have is 119% of the cost price. So if you are good with these kind of things, I mean, if your basics are at the right place, so that is what we tend to do in our pedagogy as well. You can check out the capsules related to that as well, or the full course. If your basics are at good place, then you actually don't have to do all of these things. I mean, these kind of things should happen mentally. It's a no-brainer. It's just by reflex, these kind of things should happen. Now, once you have this kind of situation, I hope you can see that both of these are SP. So we can basically equate this and this, right? We can equate these two. So effectively what we have is 85% of the mark price is equal to 119% of the cost price. So we are getting a ratio of MP by CP, right, which is 119 upon 85. Now, if you are good with reducing these kind of fractions, my recommendation is always try to reduce these kind of fractions before you go into the final calculation. If you can see that 85 is 17 into 5, then you should look for a factor of 17 in 119. You will figure it out. If you're not good with it, I can show you one technique. This is a easy way or simplified way of calculating HCFs. When you have to calculate HCF of two numbers, what you do is just take a difference of these two numbers. So 85 and 119 has a difference of 34, right? Now try to find factors of 34 rather than these two numbers and try to fit in those factors into these two numbers. So for example, in this case, 34 is 17 into 2, right? Now 2 is definitely not a factor. These two are odd numbers. So ignore the 2. Just check for 17. You'll very easily find now once you're down to this point, you should be able to find that 17 into 5 is 85, because I mean this is definitely a multiple of 5, so only 5 is possible. And if you check, this is 17 into 2, so 17 into 5 being 85, this should be 17 into 7, right? So what I'm using is, I hope you understand this. I mean, this should happen again, reflex way. So 17 into 5, then 17 into 2 added. So effectively the result should be 17 into 7. This should be 119, right? Or again, you can, factorize and all. So anyhow, 17 will cancel out and this 5 and 7 will remain, right? So this is 7 by 5, right? Don't mix up the order, by the way. So MP and CP are in the ratio 7 by 5. And if you remember, this was the objective. This is what we are looking for. So if I assume MP to be 7, this is a ratio trick. So I'm just assuming the MP to be 7 and CP to be 5. So I'll just place 5 here because that is corresponding to the CP in the denominator. But the numerator is corresponding to the difference of MP and CP. So that is 7 minus 5, which is 2, right? So 2 by 5 is what we are looking for, and which is 40%. So that should be our answer for this question. So pretty straightforward. I just wanted to discuss a few calculation tricks also in this case. We have a capsule on simplifying calculation. You can visit that. It's free of cost. Just go ahead and we have discussed a lot of ideas of how to simplify your calculation. Don't target to calculate quickly, then you are ought to make some mistakes down the line. Just try to simplify your calculation. The time will automatically reduce. But any which way, I hope you enjoyed the entire thing. Few pointers that I gave apart from the question point of view, the calculation tips. I hope that was also fun for you to watch. Anyhow, that's the entire thing for this solution. I hope everything was understood. Thank you. Okay, so this is a brilliant question actually. I have discussed these kind of things in our classes, a lot of variations on this also. I'll not go deep into that for this particular video. It will take a long time. So in this case, we have been given that the CI and SI, the compound interest simple interest for 2 years on a certain sum at a certain rate of interest. So by the way, at this point, always read it properly. When it says on a certain sum at a certain rate of interest, what it implicitly means is the principal, that is the certain sum, and the rate of interest, both of these are same. Let me write this completely. Both of these are same in the case of SI and CI. So the principal is also same as well as the rate of interest is same, because it's put in that way, right? The CI and SI for 2 years on a certain sum at a certain rate of interest. So they're having the same principal as well as the same rate of interest. Okay, now let's carry on with it. So the CI is 8280 and the SI is 7200. This is for 2 years, right? Now, the first thing that should automatically happen, I mean, you don't have to think anything about it. If the SI or the simple interest for 2 years is 7200, one thing you should by default understand, I mean, you don't have, I mean, this is something that should happen while you're reading the question any which way. So for 1 year, it should be 3600. That is the essence of simple interest, right? It is calculated over the principal always. And since the rate of interest doesn't change, so the simple interest should always remain constant, right? It's always calculated on the same principal. So it should be equally distributed. So 7200 will be 3600 for each year. Okay, so what are we looking for? Find the rate of interest. Okay, so this is the interesting part of this question. Now, what you have to understand out here is, in case of the CI, the compound interest, this is the fun part. Let's assume the principal is P. So I'm not going to use this as a variable, just an indicator point. So suppose the principal is P. Now, in the first year, this is the only thing that generates the interest, right? So let's say the interest is R% or something, or whatever it is. So after generating R%, you are getting a certain interest, right? Now, this is the interest we can actually calculate from this information. Because if you remember, this 3600 that you obtained is calculated as R% of the principal, right? That is what happens for simple interest always. So this value is actually 3600, because for the first year, the interest will always be generated on the principal alone. Now, the interesting part that happens is for the second year. Now, once you are on the second year, you know, this, both these amount, this principal as well as 3600 is part of the amount, right? And if you remember the basic of compound interest, the interest is always calculated on the amount, isn't it? So effectively, both of these are going to generate a certain interest. So you're going to have a certain interest generated from the original P, as well as this 3600 is going to generate an interest of R%, so that R is not changing. Now, one part we already know. See, we already know that this R% over the P is generating 3600, which you already knew a long time back, right? So this part, if you focus on this part is coming from P, isn't it? So R% of that P will again be 3600. So this is pretty straightforward. Now, if you check, I mean, these two numbers are adding up to 7200, right? And the question tells us that the CI total is 8280. So the difference, that is the extra 1080 that appears, that should appear from this 3600. So what is the extra information that we have? R% of this 3600. So just focus on, let me just take this off so that it helps you to focus a little bit. So I'm focusing on this part now. So R% of this 3600 is same as 1080, right? So that is what the interest is generated. Now, all you have to do is calculate this as you prefer. I would show you a simple way to do this. I mean, always calculate 10% of this. So 3600, 10% is 360, and 360 times 3 is 1080. So that should be 30%, right? So this should be 30% of 3600. which is equal to 1080. There is an alternative way, which is also easy enough. So all you do is just, calculate 1080 upon 3600 as a fraction. And if you want, you can just multiply 100% of the same thing. But yeah, get it as a fraction. So that will simplify matters for you. So this will give you 30% as an answer. So that is the requirement. So pretty straightforward, I believe. This is understood. I mean, this is a very important idea when it comes to the simple interest, compound interest. A lot of times, based on this idea as well, there are a lot of questions developed. Also, I mean, this type of direct questions also appear in a lot of different exams. Um, One other thing, I mean, in this particular question, the question could have asked for the principal as well, right? And now we can do that. So once you have got the rate of interest as 30%, so now using, let me again refocus this. So if you look at this part now, you already know that R percent of the P is 3600, right? And now once you have figured out this is 30%, so 30% of the P should be equal to 3600. So you can just backtrack and you get 12,000 as a principal. So this is another way to go ahead and figure out the principal if that was what was asked in this question. But anyhow, that's all I had to add for this question. Hopefully everything was understood. Thank you. All right. So the question says Ajay bought 12 kg of nuts for rupees 360. Great. Now, due to some reason, he had to sell them at a loss of as much money as the SP of 3 kg of nuts. Okay. So this is a very important statement. I mean, these kind of statements appear in a lot of different questions. So just read it properly. It's very easy actually. What it says is forget the due to some reason. He had to sell them. Now, what is this them referring to? It's these 12 kg of nuts, right? So that he has to sell all the 12 kg of nuts at a loss which is equivalent to, so as much money as SP of 3 kg. So what this statement is telling us is the loss on 12 kg of nuts is equivalent to SP of 3 kg of nuts. So this is what the statement is talking about. And once you're down to this point, it's nothing else to do. You can figure out whatever is required. It will deal with something, some ratio kind of ideas. We can work with it as per the requirement. So let's look at the question now. At what price per kg did he sell the nut? So we're looking for selling price per kg, right? So let's figure that out. So first, let me work on this. It's a very simple idea, just cross divide or something. So L by SP is coming out to be 3 by 12, right? So just maintain the same unit. As long as the unit is same, you can simply divide it. Really doesn't matter. So it is 1 by 4. 3 by 12 reduces to. Now this is the fun part. So what you do is just assume the loss and the SP to be 1 and 4. So just assume that the loss is 1 and the SP is 4. And correspondingly try to figure out the CP, because that is what the information you have, right? I mean, in the original question, you have been given that 12 kg of nuts for rupees 360. He bought this. So this is the cost price, isn't it? So let's use that. So according to these two values, first figure out the CP. So first of all, if there is a loss, the CP should be more than the selling price, right? It's a very natural idea. So L plus SP should be equal to CP. So CP should be 5, right? So once you have got this relationship, now you can figure out anything using this. So for example, in this question, what are we looking for? We are looking for uh, price per kg. Did he sell the nut? So we are looking for selling price per kg. This is the question, isn't it? Now, what is the cost price per kg? Just try to figure this out. So he's buying 12 kg at 360 rupees. So the cost price per kg is 360 by 12, which is 30 rupees per kilo, right? So if this 5 is pointing to 30, that is the cost price, then the 4 should correspond to 24, right? Very naturally, this should happen. You can use unitary method as well, but I hope this is easily understandable. 5 into 6, 4 into 6, right? So selling price should be 24 rupees per kilo, as simple as that. So this is just the last bit is just a ratio understanding. It's a scalable understanding which you can use. It helps us in a lot of different types of question. By the way, in this question, it could have very well asked what is the loss as a percentage of the profit, or the loss value. I mean, the loss value could have also been asked. So 5 is scaling up to 30, so 1 should scale up to 6. So this should be the loss value per kilo, of course. It could have asked for the entire 12 kilos. So always read the question properly, what is being asked, so that you don't mess it up. There could be traps in the options if you tend to mess up a certain particular calculation or understanding the question, more importantly. So always comprehend these kind of questions properly. These arithmetic questions will not be very complicated. They'll be very straightforward. Just don't mess it up in making silly mistakes and all. But yeah, that's all I had to add for this particular question. Hopefully everything was understood. Thank you.
Hopefully you liked the solutions we provided for these questions. And if you did like it, do not forget to like the video and share, subscribe, and comment. Do subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon. In that case, you'll get notification as soon as we upload a new video. And if you want to check a bouquet of courses that we provide, so we have a huge variant of courses from customizability to full preparation. You can check our website, www.mathoratory.com. I'll leave the link in the description below. And have an enjoyable preparation ahead. Welcome to the Math Oratory family, and have a good exam ahead.